Welcome to Two Guys.
A girl.
and an MBA.
Donald Trump plans to double the tariffs on steel and aluminum from 25% to 50%. Uh, we're going to be imposing a 25% increase. Actually, it's a 100% increase. But anyways, the will secure the steel industry in the United States. You know, that was one of the first things he did when he started doing tariffs because the U.S. is one of the world's behind the EU, the world's largest importer of steel. And steel, makers stocks surged 25% after market close. This is part of the global trade war that we've seen with China. You know, Canada's Chamber of Commerce quickly denounced the tariff as antithetical to North American economic security. Australia's center-left government also condemned it as unjustified and not the act of a friend. um, so this is this is going to affect not just steel, it affects all kinds of derivative products from sinks to gas ranges, air conditioners, aluminum frying pans, steel doors and hinges, all kinds of products, cars, of course.
Cars.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an article in the New York Post, which is slightly right, and the headline is Trump doubles steel tariffs, slamming shoddy Chinese products. And again, so Canada is their largest exporter in the United States for aluminum, and they export a lot of steel. But if this is a Trump remedy against cheap Chinese steel, he just executed it across the board everywhere, right? So that's why I'm always concerned about it because it's not a precise thing. It's a big hammer that hits everybody. And as you talk about, they need steel for a lot of things, construction, cars. I mean, he's built buildings. They need steel girders. Um, American production, I think what they're hoping for in Pennsylvania, that's where I think a majority of their steel production is, and he wants to bring jobs back there, but it's going to come at a cost, right? Because in a free market, you choose, what's available based on sometimes cost, sometimes quality, but it's a free market, meaning you can choose anything. And in a free market, are you going to what they're doing is they're limiting choice in America, right? You're limiting choice, and you're saying, well, we're gonna artificially inflate the price there, so that we're gonna force you apples to apples to buy locally American, right? But it's counterintuitive for an administration who believes in free markets to implement these types of remedies against Canada, for example. And their argument is, well, Canada's imposing tariffs on us, so we just want to balance it out. So it's all like I hope there's smart guys in there to unravel this because it just seems to be every morning he gets up and there's a new challenge for Earth. Trump challenging Earth every day. So I don't know what else to say about steel, but I can't see how things can't get more expensive.
I mean, most of the steel used to be made in Pennsylvania, Ohio, what they call the Rust Belt of America. And now it's kind of rusting over because that hasn't been the center of industrial capitalism for, I don't know, 40, 50 years, ever since the 70s, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's he's trying to play to this, I think, illusion that those jobs are coming back. And by somehow putting pressure on international trading partners with tariffs, you're going to somehow revive the American steelmaking industry. It's not going to happen. It's just the Americans aren't going to be. I know some Americans that work, I lived in Pennsylvania for a year. I know some people that worked in the steel plants and things, and like those jobs are not coming back, at least not in the aggregate. Like it used to be that you worked in the factory in America, in Detroit, in Cleveland, in Pittsburgh, and you made the equivalent of like 60, $75,000 today. Like that's not happening again. Like people if people are going to go back to making steel in America, they're going to be doing it for 20, $30 an hour. You know, that's it.
Especially if it's locals, if it's not immigrants, it's not Mexican or someone, so it
Yeah.
should be locals. And locals said, "Hey, wait a minute, give me the good salary."
Absolutely.
And the cost for goods for my car, future Tesla, how many dollars it will be going to cost if
You
it
just
will local from Pennsylvania somewhere and just no.
It's funny how you threw in, no offense to the Mexicans, right? But in the Mexicans and new immigrants, they always kind of settle into the lower paying jobs. It's a rite of passage, right? You get there, you take a job, and now the administration's pressuring. There he is. They're pressuring that section, that demographic, to provide
Hmm.
these who will do those jobs, and the next time they're pushing Americans to drop down and do those jobs, and Americans probably won't want to do those jobs, right? Um, I just find it so chaotic, and I know it's by design, but I don't know if there's like a solid plan here. Um, so who knows, man?
Only if Americans don't have any other job and they
Yeah.
can should agree what's like, okay, this is it, your salary. You want job? This is our conditions. So take it.
I mean, there is a labor surplus in America, and there has been for the last several decades, and that's a big reason why you're seeing this immigrant backlash against people
Hmm.
coming in. Because for the first 200 years of American history, there was a labor shortage. You had this big country with huge resources and not enough people to do the jobs, and you had a increasing, standard of living and wage, right? But since the 70s, 80s, that all shifted with globalization, technology, you know, uh, airplane travel, internet, computers, automation. It's gone. It's not coming back. And he is playing to that fantasy that things are going to be like they were yesteryear. It's not like the jobs that need to get created in America right now are, you know, in emerging industries like, AI or, uh, I can't even think of any other industry right now. We talk about it so much, but
Oh,
that,
I have something I know from where we got employees. Because 5 days ago, or no, 10 days ago, May 20, Microsoft has laid out over 6,000 employees.
Yep.
You
yeah,
see, you have
yeah,
local Americans, smart local Americans who can produce steel and manufacture from steel. So yay,
yeah.
this is
But
it. IT giants
okay.
will give employees for that.
So I have the Department of Labor, and these are the fastest growing occupations. So median salaries between 50 to 100,000 plus a year. Wind turbine service technicians, solar photovoltaic panel installers, so solar panels installation,
Hmm.
nurse practitioners. That's paying 129,000 a year, right? The baby boomers need medical services.
That's
Data
true.
scientists, AI, right? Information security analysts, medical health service managers, physician assistants, computer information research scientists, physical therapy assistants, operations research analyst, occupational therapy assistant, actuary, that's like insurance and
Yep.
financial examiners, home and health person, veterinary assistants, veterinary technologists, uh, you know, epidemiologists, substance
Oh,
abuse, behavior disorder, and mental health counselor. These are all growing like 20% or more, some of them 50%. Those
Yep.
are the jobs that
yeah.
he should pander to. You don't see anything like steel worker, coal
No.
miner. That's not
No.
happening. Like
No.
that's not the
You know,
economy
the
that exists.
the problem with America, not the problem. The challenge is if you look at the companies that are driving the most, like in the GDP, like the tech companies, every dollar of revenue that they produce, they need less people than say making steel, right? So
Yeah.
let's
Hmm.
say you want to generate another $100, it might, or another million, you might take two people, right? Because it's information. So that's why the America looks great from like their GDP or their economic output, because the companies driving that, but they don't use the same amount of employees per top line revenue. And
Yeah.
so he's in a simple way saying, well, I'm gonna have to maximize the revenue output to the maximum amount of people who are going to work there. And that's why he's always looking for car manufacturing, which is heavily labor intensive because you still have to assemble, and then they're talking about having robots in there, which is again counterintuitive to like bringing jobs back, you know, to match the revenue and more people employed. So all those jobs you listed are great, um, and yet the American GDP and outputs are based on these Microsoft, who's exporting service technology out of the country but producing no jobs. Same thing with Amazon. Same thing with Facebook. They're not producing jobs. That's great revenue, but there's no jobs here. I don't know why he doesn't, talk about retraining the population.
Please consider subscribing below.
Thank you for being with us. Please leave your comments, feedback, what you think about us, and see you in the next podcast. Bye.